We're switching gears a little bit and had the first 5 practices, and those were kind of the heavy install, and then players had a day off, and now we're kind of back into really I think where we got to ramp it up in camp, and yet also I know I haven't spoken with anyone officially in the media since Friday, and obviously everyone knows the outcome, and Q knows how everyone in this building feels, and I think he said it best now. It's how can he go forward, and that's, we know he wants to do it, and I'd say there's not one guy on this team and coaches that don't want, truly first and foremost, whatever's best for Q to help him go forward. That's what we want, and however that plays out, if it's best for Q, then we couldn't be more excited for him that way. And obviously, right now, and there's a lot of steps, for that to happen. There's a lot of things that have to go on, and there's been a lot of work being done and will continue to be done so that Q can find out what are his options. And so we're just kind of, again, I'm proud of the way this team kind of helped him and went through it, and so I think it's been hard on everyone involved, right? And we all know that. But now we're looking forward to, you want everyone to be able to go forward, and so whatever's best for him, that's what truly we want.
Well, if he is reinstated and should decide at some point to want to be here, would you welcome him back in that scenario?
Yes, if it's best for Q, and it truly is for him, then I know his teammates and I know how we feel, we would welcome him back. And yet we got to make sure, and we talked with the guys about it, it's not about us. It's what's best for him, and if that is, we absolutely would.
Are you comfortable seeing some of you guys on social media lobbying for him to be reinstated?
Well, Jeff, you would know that I did not see anyone on social media.
I'm sure someone shared it with you.
I'm trying to think of it. I hear them talk about it, and
are you comfortable with them expressing publicly that it's right to bring him back to the chancellor?
Yeah, and I think that, and I don't know who they're directed to. I think that it's right for them to have an opinion, and yet I do know that we've talked about it, and I think guys are. It truly has to be what is best for Q, right? And right, because there's a fine line. You don't want to make someone feel guilty either. If that's not, you want to support, and I think I've thought these are hard times, and it's not just this, but as far as the era, the age that we're in right now, and part of college is finding who you are and knowing how, and you got to do it responsibly, and got to go with it. So I think I would find out if it was something negative, I believe, but offering their support, it's I think if it's genuine, that's I think that's okay.
What was your personal reaction to finding out that the not guilty verdict?
Well, I think there's the whole thing's tough, and yet that's where you have to. We should follow the lead that Q did, and that he's going to put the fate in the hands of a jury and go through it with our legal system, and certainly you have, when the verdict is, you have all sorts of emotions, and I don't think I'm any different than any one of our players. Not face to face, not much.
When do you expect to know from the chancellor what the next step is, what the decision?
I have not been informed of a timeline or anything like that, and so I'm sure I'll know when it's time.
Is there anything that you're doing after that incident to further educate the players on how they should behave?
Absolutely. I mean, you spend time on that every year, and more than once, right? I think as a program, you can check the box off, and yet I think that you're always doing, and you do it in team settings, you do it in group settings, and it's not just that, but that how can you help them maybe know what's around the bend? How can you know, there's a number of things that you try to cover, and you have, you know, what I've always appreciated about the players here is that, you know, then you bring in outside people, you have kind of internal programming, and then you have each other, and you force them to talk about and discuss, and you know, they're no different than your kids. You want to try to do as much as you can to help them in so many different situations.
Well, if the Chancellor did reinstate him and you guys welcomed him back, in what areas, both on the field and off the field, would he help this team, in your opinion?
You know, it's the reason I'm hesitating a little bit is I know what he was before, and what he was then meant a ton to this team as a player, and he was one of those connectors that unified different groups, and I think had a lot of respect, and I think that, you know, he would still bring that, and certainly it would take, you know, there's some time to get going. You know, there'd be time, and yet right now that's the least thing that I'm concerned about as far as the football aspect of it.
Oh, from practice, there have been some instances where you've had Garrett and Jonathan together. If you don't want me to ask,
I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you like about a potential combination where you've got two of your most experienced guys in the backfield together, that they could be different?
You know, I think what you're trying to do, and camp's a great time for it, is how can you play with what you think are your best players? And a lot of times your best is also experienced. So I think it's probably a little bit of that, where you're just trying to, how can we get our best players on the field? And, you know, we obviously think highly of those two. And so you're trying to find all the different combinations, whether it's maybe something that's not quite as noticeable as when you're talking about which 5 linemen are in there, or, you know, what receivers are in. A lot of people, well, there's 3 receivers in, but who are they? What do they do? It's probably just an extension of that is probably best said.
Paul, I think Rudy's been quietly optimistic about Seltzner for some time now. What has he done to put himself in a position where he's battling for playing time right now?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think Rudy and others are excited about what Seltz is doing, and I think it's probably you know, he's been in the program now, and so he's playing, you know, there's that, you go through that learning phase, and then there's kind of a confidence of what I'm doing, and then I think the next one is now physically, because I'm not thinking physical, and that plays into his strengths because he is a physical player. And so I think that it's that, and, you know, it's kind of fun to see as a coach, but, you know, there will be opportunities, and so I think with, you have the exodus of a number of people, the work that he's been doing is now giving him a chance to, I think, make the most of this, and so I don't know if he's doing anything out of the ordinary, but he certainly has size and strength, and he's got good quickness for his size. You know, he's got some movement skills to it, and now it's just, can you, all of this camp, you know, it's, can you do it first, and then can you do it consistently? And I think that's where he's shown to be able to do it. I think that's what gets Joe excited about now. Can you do it consistently? You know?
Those physical traits you mentioned, were those some of the things you guys saw him as a high school player to invite him as a walk-on here?
Yeah, we were excited when he came and walked on, certainly, and then I think it's what has he done since, you know, and there's a guy that truly has he has put the work in, and when you say that physically you're putting it in, but also the mental part so that you can feel confident, and then when opportunity comes. But I remember when he was in scout team, you know, there was, he kind of made a mark, and so I think that helped, because I think you know, whether you walk on or not, I think the first thing is when you come young kid, you know, do I belong or can I play? And I think when they get those moments, yeah, I can do this. Then I think it's now, right now, it starts snowballing for him, and I think he's done a nice job of that.
How does an offensive lineman make a mark on scout team when he's running the other team's stuff? Just being physical?
Yeah, and I think Kids know. I mean, you're still blocking, right? And you're going up against better players, you know, in some ways. I mean, that year I think that was Connor and Cheekway and Leve, you know. So you get a sense if they got a chance or not.
Well, I know we've only seen 2 days, so that's not a huge sample size. But Aaron Cruikshank has looked like he's taken a step. Would you agree with that?
It'll be he's flashed. I'd say that's the best thing. Aaron's flashed, and it's in him, and he's got to be a great example of can you consistently do that.
Are there any other receivers outside of the top guys that have done some really nice things that you've enjoyed seeing?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a big, exciting headline or anything, but I love what Krumholtz and Dunn have done, and I think that's where we got to go to build the depth. I appreciate the way AJ's kind of attacked this whole deal. Danny and KP, I like the way the group's working, and then we're going to have the young, Ken, Taj, and AJ. Last year was their first fall, and at times I think we're swimming. Can the world settle down for them, and can they go? So we'll get it. That's one nice thing about camp is you're going to get reps, and they've got to, make the most. We've done a lot of them, as much as we can, where we've done kind of 2 groups going, so we're getting more reps in right now in camp, and they've got to take advantage of that. And I think AJ's habits, he's been more consistent this camp, and that's good for him.
How do you feel like AJ and Danny have kind of kept the trial and stuff separate from what they're trying to do in camp?
Yeah, I don't know that you can keep it separate. I think that there's certainly, there's a lot of people that anything like this that are. I think they've done a nice job of where they're at and when they're at, and they enjoy playing the game. So I think that helps coming here and being around it, and certainly, I'm sure there's quite a bit of glad it's in the rearview mirror too.